Aloha, it is Dave Lawrence, and thrilled to be here at Waterfront at Aloha Tower. It's a confusing name. This used to actually be a club down here, and it went out of business. Now it's called Waterfront at Aloha Tower. And I'm with the Deftones Chino Moreno, their esteemed lead vocalist, and a big mahalo for taking a moment to speak with me.
No problem, man. What's up?
How you been? And where you guys just came from overseas, there's been so much drama happening around the world, and one of your stops was in a predominantly Muslim country, right? You guys just did Singapore the other day?
Yeah, a couple days ago, actually.
And give me a review. What was it like?
Oh, it was awesome, man. It was, like you said, it was our first time there, and it was fun, dude. We just flew in. We flew in day of show, set up. We played outdoors in this park, and it was lovely, man. We had it was like a jungle behind us, like all these trees, and it really felt like we were in foreign land. You know what I mean? And the crowd was great. Rob Schneider, the actor, was on the side of the stage the whole show. We were playing, and it was fun. It was just kind of surreal, you know. Anytime you fly into some place and you're on an airplane, which is already a weird enough thing, and you get off it and then you go and you play a show that same day, you know what I mean. And then the next morning, wake up early and do the same exact thing. We had been doing that for like 3 days at that time, so that was just right before here. So it's all been like a whirlwind in a way, but fun. Yeah.
Is there a different kind of energy from audiences when you guys are doing, you guys are doing English-based thing, you're in foreign countries, English is not necessarily the predominant language. Is there a different kind of energy from the crowd, or is it the same thing wherever you go?
I think the music's pretty much universal, you know what I mean? So, some places it's actually, which is funny you bring this up, at Kuala Lumpur, we played the other day, and they were singing the lyrics louder on one of the songs than I've heard in any city in America or anywhere, in Europe or the UK or anything where people pronounce English. I mean, they were singing the whole song louder than me at the point, and I never do this, like the rock and roll thing where you hold the microphone up and whatever, but I did it for the first time the other night because, at Deftones shows it's not really, that's not a real
sing-along kind of show.
Yeah, it's not really, you know what I mean? But when it is like that, it's awesome. I experienced that for the first time the other day, and it was in Kuala Lumpur where, I guess there's a lot of different people there, but the majority of the people there are don't speak English.
Well, what you said about the music being universal, I have this new boss, this new news director, Bill, and he used to work at CNN, and he was in Tokyo and stuff, and he was telling me the story of seeing Billy Joel at the Tokyo Dome, and the crowd at the middle of Piano Man, all of a sudden, Billy just pushes the mic away, and this audience that probably, like you were saying, couldn't speak that much English, they suddenly just go into the notes, the words on cue.
Yeah. That's definitely a trip.
Yeah, and I can imagine that it must be like that, a connection with you. How much connection do you have personally with the islands?
With
Hawaii.
With Hawaii?
Yeah, have you been here before? What's your personal sort of experience?
I've only been here one other time. And the other time that we were here, we filmed a
DVD.
A DVD. And that's the only DVD we ever put out. I've never watched it. I remember it was... it didn't sound that good. I remember when we were playing, it was kind of really awkward. So I have it somewhere in my mind that it's no good. So maybe I'll watch it one day when I'm old and gray and whatever. But I haven't watched it.
And it's not still available, right?
I don't know. I'm sure you can get anything on the internet, but
it's not in print.
Maybe not. No, it's probably not in Walmart.
Probably not. It would be unfair to talk to you and not get an update on Chi, who so many people care about and so many people want to hear from you what the latest is.
Yeah, Chi is fighting, man. He's a strong dude. He's been in this state for his accident was 2 years ago, but he's been in a semi-conscious state for the last year, I'd say, and he's fighting every day to be more and more aware, I guess, and he's got some doctors right now they're overseeing him and hopefully he gets in their care in the next. We heard it's supposed to be any day now that he's going to be transferred to New Jersey, the east coast of America, and that's where his doctor's at. So he'll be under his care 24 hours, 24/7, and then he, hopefully we can start expediting his whole healing process. You know what I mean? Because right now he's kind of been in this this state, just a semi-conscious state, which means he sleeps, he wakes up. He opens his eyes, he looks at you, you can get his attention, he'll look at you, whatever, but he still hasn't spoken. He hasn't really communicated in any way. So that's the toughest thing,
How long had you been friends with him?
Since I was 15. Yeah.
How has it changed your life to watch someone that obviously you've known that long? You guys are known for being really close. In what ways do you think you've changed as a guy since having to go through this?
Man, I mean, it's been, I mean, the craziest thing is not even how I've changed since this has happened. I mean, there's a story there, but even like, see, I've known him since I was 15. We grew up together. I mean, like I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17 years old, and I moved in with him. Like, so we lived together or in a band together, like every day. You know what I mean? And when we were kids, and then we through the band we became adults, and so we've learned so much, like together. You know what I mean? And yeah, and then when his thing happened, it kind of woke me up in a lot of ways, because at that time, I don't know, it's just kind of, I've been in I guess for a while just been kind of living life like, like there's no tomorrow, like I'm a singer of a rock band, I guess, how I thought I should be living, because this is what I do. My life is sort of chaotic, so I kind of rolled with the chaos for a long time, and it was fun. But when that happened to Chi, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it just really makes you put things in perspective, your life, the way you're living, like what's important.
You take less for granted.
Of course, that's the biggest thing you kind of learn. Life is short, and like it's precious, and you must appreciate your life. So it changed me in a lot of different ways. I mean, mentally and physically, I feel like a different person.
Are you a bit kinder?
I think I've always been sort of kind. I mean, I actually, when I was a young punk, I'm sure, at a certain age, I went to the young punk stage, but for the most part, I think I'm a pretty nice guy. I think it just more or less it made me to be a more responsible person, more because I lived like irresponsibly. I guess that's a good word to say, the way I lived, with summing it all up, you know what I mean? And I started to become like a lot more responsible of a person, and it really helped musically, I think, in our band, our making our records, touring, everything,
When you think of your development as an artist, you have a singing style that is so different. It's almost like two singing styles. If you go all the way from the sound that you have on a song like Rocket Skates to something like on Sex Tape, which style came first?
For me personally, the melodic stuff. Although the earliest days of the band, the aggressive stuff was like what got me, into the band, because Stefan obviously, he wrote the majority of the music when we first started, and his guitar playing is metal based, pretty much just aggressive, like, style guitar, and that as a kid just got me hyped up, and I just wanted to scream my head off. So like, that was my first take on being in a band. Then later on, as the band progressed, I started to put more into what I really, really love to do, and that's, sing. So I started to put that into it as much, and learning while I was doing it, you know what I mean? And it kind of just morphed into, I guess, what it is today.
A lot of people would not have that diversity. A lot of cats, they have a sound. It's not to say that it's not good or not defined, but you really have these two different sounds. If you were to think of the kind of cats that inspired you to first pick up the mic and decide to be a singer, who were those guys?
Oh man, probably be. I mean, for the aggressive vocal style, the rhythmic, just like throwing words out and screaming, is just HR from Bad Brains. I mean, he's like, the first time I saw a video of them, I listened to the records first and I was bugged out, but then I saw a video of them like in the early 80s, must have been like 82 or something like that, and it was just like one of the most intense, like just powerful, like energy just that I've ever seen with music, and just like a performance. So that got me, you know what I mean, on that way. And then like singing wise, just like lyrically and everything else, like someone like Morrissey, maybe. I grew up, or Robert Smith even, from The Cure. I think I grew up listening to a lot of new wave music and stuff. So like that kind of like, like more kind of poetic English, music was pretty like high on my scale as a kid, before I got in Deftones.
Oh, that's cool. It shapes your background. And as a final note, because I know you're busy, and I want to let you go so that you can go and put on the killer show that you're going to do tonight. My first time that I got to see you, I got to see a whole bunch of Deftones shows all in a row. You were opening for the original Black Sabbath. It was 1999. Just curious, are there reflections from that tour? Was it meaningful to you? I know you've got to see them as sort of the grandfathers of all of this. Any kind of stories you could just share, or a story from that tour?
Yeah, I remember that tour was awesome. Obviously, they got back together right then. I'll hold this. They got back together right then, and And so, when we were on the first tour, and Vega, Mr. Sergio Vega right there, he's actually filling in for Chi on that tour. So if you saw us on that tour, Sergio was playing bass. And so I always remember that. But no, I mean, the tour itself was just awesome. I can't even think of one particular story about it. Just that I think one of the main things, Pantera was on it too.
Triple bill.
Yeah, and those dudes are the funnest band to tour with ever of any other band we've ever toured with, because we toured with them on their own, and we toured with them in White Zombie, and we toured with them on that tour, and that was when we were pretty young. I mean, that was like probably like mid 90s or something like that, and so we were pretty young, and that was like, one of the craziest. Even since then, I've never been on a tour with any other band that is like straight up rock and roll. Like that's how they live, and that's how they, their whole life is just like, they live it and breathe it. And that was like, and as a kid, kind of, being, that was my first experience in rock. I was bugged out. That was awesome.
Well, it was a great way to first see you then. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tonight, and I appreciate you just taking a few minutes for me today. Thank you very much,
No
Chino.
problem, man. Thank you.
You're the man.